For 2 decades, Afghanistan has made global headlines for all the wrong reasons. War, chaos, displacement, and uncertainty have continued to plague this country ever since the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan in 1979. Around 500,000 civilians were killed, according to the most conservative figures, while some estimate the actual figure to be 1 million. For millions who were alive, they had to seek refuge in neighboring countries of Pakistan and Iran. The situation only worsened after the U.S. war on terrorism, which destroyed critical infrastructure as well as the economy. Currently, 92% of the population is facing some level of food insecurity, while 3 million children are at risk of acute malnutrition. Kabul, the capital of Afghanistan and perhaps the most well-developed city in the region, is also facing problems. After the fall of the Taliban in 2002, about 3 million Afghan expatriates have returned to their country. Kabul's population climbed from 700,000 in 1980 to over 4 million in 2007. Consequently, Kabul began experiencing a housing crisis, water shortage, pollution, crime, and insufficient infrastructure. The living conditions deteriorated for many already struggling to make ends meet. To counter these problems, Afghanistan is planning to revamp the capital city once and for all. A new mega project called the Kabul New City has been launched to provide residence for 3 million people. The city is built on 740 square kilometers of land and is almost 1.5 times bigger than the current city of Kabul. It's situated in the northern part of Kabul, in the Desabs district, and would also include some areas from Shakarta, Karbaba, Istalif, and Kalakan districts. Before we reveal more exciting details about this project, don't forget to subscribe to Visionary Builds to help us reach our goal of 1 million subscribers. Back to the topic. The brand new city promises 600,000 housing units by 2040, in addition to offering jobs to 1.2 million. This would be revolutionary for everyday citizens as the unemployment rate continues to increase with every passing year, making 1 in 2 Afghans poor, according to the World Bank. The city is supposed to be developed in 2 phases each of 15 years. New Kabul City was conceptualized more than a decade ago in 2006. Hamid Karzai, then president of Afghanistan, appointed a high-level commission to assess the future expansion of the city. Japan International Cooperation Agency, or JICA, conducted a study in response to a request from the government in which they studied 7 broad areas around Kabul City and recommended the Desabs district. In their view, the Desabs district was the only area with potential to become a large urban development. French and German private sectors prepared the master plan of the city, while the final draft was approved by the cabinet in 2009. 70% of the funding comes from the private sector, which includes both local and foreign investors through public-private partnership contracts. Architecture Studio won the international tender launched by Afghanistan in 2007. They have to come up with an urban framework for this city that is not only sustainable but also fits the definition of a 21st century capital. The new Kabul City will have different zones for residential, recreational, industrial, and agricultural purposes. The city will also ensure basic amenities like the supply of drinking water and electricity, and access to education, healthcare, and employment. The recreational sector will boast various parks, restaurants, hotels, museums, and a central park with an area of 13 square kilometers. The project's construction was divided into phases, with Phase 1 aiming to construct 80,000 housing units by 2015. Phase 1 also included the essential infrastructure and construction of 1/3 of the Barakab Agricultural Economic Zone, BAEZ. However, little attention was paid to this project, and as of late 2014, the progress was only on paper. The physical progress began in 2020 and included a few kilometers of roads, a limited number of commercial buildings, and a very small portion of the BAEZ infrastructure. So what's stopping this project from progressing? The demand's high, the investors are ready, and there's a detailed plan available. However, the political scenario is taking its toll on this ambitious plan. A lack of sufficient technical and managerial capacity has also been a challenge. Then there's the issue of the land itself. The Desabs lands are technically government lands that have been largely grabbed and illegally sold. The plan was to segregate legal private lands and prevent further land grabbing. The 54 existing villages are planned to be incorporated into the greenbelt around the city. The local commanders, some of them with political backing, have attacked engineers and visitors affiliated with KNC several times. But there's absolutely no doubt that a project can be revived once again. The first phase of the economic zone in Barakab is already complete, which can bring approximately $300 to $350 million in investment while creating 15,000 direct jobs. Kabul New City can be symbolic of Afghanistan's growth and prosperity. Japan had already granted $31.6 million for this mega project in 2013 and will continue to do so in the future. It has the potential to attract significant foreign investment that can contribute to the overall economic development of the country. Let's hope that this becomes a reality. The next project isn't only limited to Afghanistan. It's a railway track that connects Afghanistan to its neighbor, Iran. It's called the Kraft-Herat Railway, with a total length of 225 kilometers. 140 kilometers of the track is in Afghanistan and the remaining 85 is inside Iran. The maximum speed of freight trains is expected to be 120 kilometers an hour. Passenger trains are 160 kilometers an hour, and the axle load can reach 25 tons. The construction of the Khaf-Herat railway line, which links Khaf in eastern Iran with Herat in western Afghanistan, began back in 2007. The cost is estimated to be $75 million and is funded by Iran, which has already spent millions of dollars in constructing various roads, dams, and highways in Afghanistan. Despite both countries being sanctioned by the West, this new railway line will increase their strategic position. The new link will transport 1 million passengers a year between the two countries and more than 6 million tons of cargo each year. As Afghanistan is a landlocked country with no ports, this rail network can connect it to Iranian ports and further into Turkey and Europe. The railway would carry export materials from Iran like oil, construction materials, and even food like grain, dried fruit, plants, and medical items. But bear in mind that the Khaf-Herat Railway isn't just any random project. It's part of a $2 billion five-nations railway corridor which would run through Iran, Afghanistan, Kyrgyzstan, and China. In this way, Iran seeks to rise above the Western sanctions by forming business relationships with regional powers like China and Russia. On May 9, 2023, the trial test for the railway was completed, which involved carrying 655 tons of railway equipment using 17 wagons. The construction of the Khaf-Herat was divided into 4 phases. Afghanistan approved the first phase in February 2019 with a total length of 85 kilometers, and the 4th phase of construction started in December 2020. Plans to transport passengers through the railway are also in the cards. According to initial studies, passenger traffic could reach 321,000 passengers in a year. It's safe to say that this project is a step in the right direction and will help reduce transportation costs and border traffic and enhance mobility in the region. The next project on our list is the KAPPA Canal. It's an artificial canal being built in northern Afghanistan to divert water from Amu Darya. The Taliban expects this project to turn 5,500 square kilometers of desert into much-needed farmland. As already mentioned, the 40 million residents of Afghanistan are battling a food crisis. This canal will open up doors for a region stressed with famine and severe climate change. The KAPPA Canal aims to extract 10 billion cubic meters of water from the Amu Darya River. The Amu Darya, also known as the Oxus, stands as Central Asia's longest river, carrying 80% of the region's water resources. From April 2022 to February 2023, more than 100 kilometers of the canal had been excavated. Interestingly, the fight for Amu's water is not new. During the Soviet era, Amu's waters were divided among the 4 USSR countries, namely Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, and Uzbekistan. This division didn't reflect Afghanistan's interest, which is now forced to find its way out. According to the Afghanistan government, 5,500 people are working around the clock on the project, using over 3,300 bits of machinery. Once finished, the KAPPA Canal has the potential to feed the whole nation as well as create many jobs. The next project is another international-level venture with China and Pakistan. Even though the project is called China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, or CPEC for short, Afghanistan's entry into CPEC has massive benefits. For some background, CPEC was proposed in 2013 by the Chinese side. The mission of this corridor was to provide an alternative route for China's oil import from the Middle East. For this reason, China is building the Gwadar port in Pakistan, which will reduce the export journey from 12,000 kilometers to 2,400 kilometers. With Afghanistan's entry into CPEC, it can become a hub for regional connectivity in addition to bringing foreign investments. According to Hafiz Zia Ahmad, spokesman of the Foreign Ministry, CPEC will help us become part of the Belt and Road Initiative, BRI, and bring different projects in energy, railway, and other sectors to Afghanistan. In the same fashion, Afghanistan has yet again collaborated with Asian partners under the CASA 1000 Power Watt project. CASA stands for Central Asia-South Asia Power Project, and the member countries include Afghanistan, Pakistan, Kyrgyzstan, and Tajikistan. Interestingly, it's a clean energy project that aims at supplying up to 1,300 megawatts of electricity during the summer months. During these months, Tajikistan and Kyrgyzstan experienced a surplus of energy from their hydroelectric dams. On the other hand, Afghanistan and Pakistan suffer from frequent power shortages that hurt not only civilians but also industrial activity. By connecting the four countries through a shared electricity transmission system, Tajikistan and Kyrgyzstan can sell this clean energy in the summer months to millions of people who live without electricity altogether. The entire project is expected to be completed by 2025. As of March 2021, approximately 30% of the project covering Afghanistan was completed. If anyone wants to see what Afghanistan might look like in the future, it's already starting to show us. Given Afghanistan's central position in Asia, it can now serve as a regional link between the West and East. We are committed to release 2 new videos each week. If you like today's video, don't forget to hit the like button and turn on notifications to know about our next video release.